Alright, it looks like I'm on, so I'm going to start talking here. I have some uh, information I want to just go over with my court hearing. I have one tomorrow for West Milwaukee, and then the next day for Outagamie. And I'm mostly focused on Outagamie, and I'm just kind of using the stuff I learned from Outagamie to apply to West Milwaukee, even though they're different. And I've been discovering things that I find interesting, recent things. So today I want to go over what I've discovered for this one guy who got charged, and I'm going to look at his court record, and then also I did some role playing with Judge ChatGPT. So I want to go over that role playing a little bit because it's really, I think, indicative. Oh, hello Zap, my viewer. Hello viewer. It's all court stuff here I'm going to be focusing on, so not much excitement going on. It's the same old Outagamie stuff I keep repeating that's causing my subscriptions to drop. Let's see. Let's see. I'm so incensed by this guy. His name is Adam. On his situation. It's something I just want to bring up right away here. So what I do is I pick the right, because what I did was searched for Outagamie, and I get different results when I search my Natchitoches versus Travis YouTube channel compared to my the channel for just travel, my travel channel. My travel channel has yielded different results from my cop channel when I search Outagamie. And obviously none of my stuff pops up because I'm shadow banned, but that's fine. And I think I can just go back. I'll just copy this title in case I do happen to lose it. I'll just kind of do that. I'll just go back to the choices. Okay, I know what that looks like. Okay, we'll go to the top and then I'll arrive at that. So on my other channel, my travel channel, let's see, let me get rid of that. Alright, and then I can bring up the website here. MaxCam, yeah, I'm not using the MaxCam here. I was thinking about using my Insta 360. I tried to use it as like a camera for live stream, but I guess I have to do some extra steps. So I've been using the 12. The 12 has been pretty reliable for me, so I've just been using that. And then I situated myself in the corner here. I turned the camera kind of away from me so that I'm off to the side, because I could be in the center. And, you know, that's pretty standard, but I don't know. I kind of like being in the corner. That's just gets me out of the way so I can pop up windows. So I do a window capture, and it's going to be the website. Okay, the YouTube website. So we're looking at the YouTube website. Yeah, I've been to Rice Lake. I actually grew up there. It looks like it's under a lot of construction last time I checked. Let's see. That website's right here. Nope, no, not right there. I wonder if I should just dump that. I'm gonna dump this so I don't get confused. Alright, now this is looking up Outagamie on my travel channel. So I mean that's different. So and nothing. Outagamie County Recycle. I never even checked the channel for Outagamie County recycling and solid waste. Looks like my computer's a little slow. It's kind of acting a little slow. Okay. But when I type in Outagamie, and that's just Outagamie by itself. Why don't I do county? Suppose, yeah, a little different. We have Outagamie County fatal. Something with a 17-year-old. Something. There's a few of them about the jail. Oh yeah, and then this guy got shot with a knife. And they just uploaded it 2 weeks ago, but it probably happened well before that. Accused peeper. More of the jail. They're doing like upgrades with the jail or something. They want a joint effort. Recycling. See, none of my stuff shows because I'm shadow banned. Supper Club is closing. That's 3 weeks ago. New Justice Center expansion 9 years ago. Changes being made to the jail. Outagamie County DA. No criminal charges against Appleton officer in shooting. Okay. Wow. And you can listen to what they say. I never even listened, but if I play this, I think it's going to be screwy. We'll test it out. What do they say?
An Appleton police officer will not be charged in a deadly officer-involved shooting at Jack's Apple Pub back in May. The Outagamie County District Attorney held a news conference today at the Appleton Police Department to review her findings. NBC 26's Sheriff Taylor was there and has more. Sheriff? Megan, the DA says Lieutenant Jay Steinke was shooting at a man with a gun, who they identified as Harry Nellum, as Nellum was trying to exit Jack's Apple Pub. Nellum is now facing felony murder charges in the connection to the shooting. Schneider says Steinke fired 4 shots in 1.5 seconds. Nellum was shot once in the arm. Another shot hit Jimmy Sanders, who was a bystander, killing him. 2 other rounds hit the bar in the cash register.
Lieutenant Jay Steinke acted appropriately given the threat and actions of Mr. Nellum and what was approaching him. I want to be clear, and I hope the community understands, that officers are not trained to shoot someone in the knee, shoot the gun out of someone's hand. They are trained to end the threat.
As you recall, the incident started at Jack's Apple Pub in Appleton during the early morning hours of May 21st, after an argument allegedly broke out between Henry Nellum and another man. Police responded. Sanders' family was present today outside the Appleton Police Department and had this to say about the shooting.
Terrible. This is unacceptable. Like, this man had a life. This man had a family.
So, all right. I mean, that's what the DA has to say. I'm just going to skip, see if the DA's picture shows up at anywhere. I'm more interested in what the DA has to say. Yeah, whatever. All right, so that's what the DA has decided. They don't even name the officer, right? They don't even name the officer.
The Appleton police officer will not be charged in a deadly officer-involved shooting at Jack's Apple Pub back in May. The Outagamie County District Attorney held a news conference today at the Appleton Police Department to review her findings. NBC 26's Sheriff Taylor was there and has more. Sheriff? Megan, the DA says Lieutenant Jay Steinke was shooting at a...
Oh, they do give his name. Lieutenant J. State, but it's so long ago that I don't think that it'll show up on CCAP. 7 years ago. 911 call from Fox River Mall. Let's see. Text to 911. Get a grip on the reality. Yeah, rip out everything inside your car. You want to maximize your space, and all that plastic is not necessary. Just get down to the bare metal. Donations help Outagamie. Sheriff pay for new canine. More jail stuff. Outagamie's willing to sell. Super Bowl champion running for sheriff. Yep, he's the current sheriff. Oh, no. What I found earlier should show up. Treatment graduates, but I copied and pasted it. Or I mean I copied it. Here we are. Federal prosecutors take over the case against former Oh, federal prosecutors took it over. Okay. Well then, uh, okay. This is something that now. Okay, I'm just gonna go to it then. I searched this guy. Okay, and it made me angry to see Adams James Westbrook, but now it's possible that it got dismissed because oh, there's Pig Trader. I see ya. It got dismissed because uh, it got dismissed because they transferred to federal court. So this guy, but they didn't say transfer. That's the thing. They say dismissed. But all of this, all these charges for this Adam Westbrook are showing up as dismissed, and I thought that just didn't look very fair. Okay, but maybe it's because the federal government's taken over. So then you'd have to start looking at federal. Because look at that, it only took a day. That's what got my attention. The complaint was filed on February 20th, and then it got dismissed on February 21st. So that might be more a matter of his case being transferred. So it might be the U.S. government against that guy. So let's see. We got his name. Trial set. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't just... Okay. I just got confused then. It just simply moved. I thought he got off in a day. That's the impression that record gives you. But then I had to look on YouTube. YouTube corrected me because the records, the court records don't give that impression. Alright, so then this guy's got a trial, and he worked in Outagamie, and yeah, he's September, he's got a trial. Okay. Alright, well then, yeah, without, okay, yeah, that they're going to let the federal government take his case. Okay, well then that's it. That's all I have to show for him. My case, it's definitely not so quickly dismissed. And I can just see the prosecutor say at the end, we're not letting this go. Because I heard him tell somebody else that. We're not letting this go. And you know what I'm going to say to that? I'm going to say, well, I ain't pleading guilty. If I'm going to hear an outburst like that, like I heard the prosecutor tell one other guy, we're not letting this go. Well, that other guy just stood there in silence. But, I mean, you want an outburst? You want to make an outburst? You're going to get an outburst, okay? I'll be like, I ain't pleading, and I ain't pleading guilty. That's what I was thinking after I heard that outburst from that prosecutor. We're not letting this go. So it's gonna be contentious. But I'll say that I have nothing on Leon Osvaldo German, and all you have to do is search my first and last name for my case. I watched a little bit of Figgy and got just a little bit of an idea of what he's like. And he seems textbook, but we'll see. So yeah, in 2 days, but tomorrow I have the West Milwaukee case. I got all this information, and then yeah, and is this readable? Camping. Maybe I could just make it a little bigger. Camping, unauthorized camping. So we have all my motions. Everything filed in here is from me up until the 12th. I asked for a waiver of the fees and I was denied. And this court official is a judge who's not Brian Figge, right? Brian Figge. Where's his name? Jeez. Okay, yeah, Brian. So somebody else looked at my my petition for fee waiver, who's not Brian Figge. So they're kind of, these judges are kind of transferring cases. They're overlapping each other, and this person is a family court commissioner, and I don't believe they have any pictures. Yeah, none of these, not even a professional picture. Marine, or is that it? Oh, maybe that's. But they took their picture down on the. Oh no, that's not him. Okay, so the judges like to take their pictures down. It's not just. Yeah. Oh, I could take it a step up higher. That's true. Instead of saying I ain't pleading guilty, I'll say I'm willing to take this to the Supreme Court. All right. Yeah. I'm not letting this go. I'll take this to the Supreme Court. That's a better outburst, actually. So that's yeah, that's the court commissioner. So I have several filings here, and I have nothing else to file until the hearing now. Motion for bill of particulars. Wait. Oh yeah. Um, let's see. I wonder if I could just make this I want to keep my ChatGPT up, but I found this interesting because I didn't know what DFT meant. So this little statement that I highlight, to Commissioner Figge from DFT requesting dismissal with attachment. I'm like, what is that? So let's go to ChatGPT because they answered it for me. And I want to keep up another. Okay, I'll ask, what is DFT? I'll just put that. DFT is an abbreviation for defendant. In the context of to Commissioner Figge from DFT requesting dismissal. And I pretty much requested dismissal. Howard Clegg in Bethany, Missouri. I started asking them a question about parking, and they're telling my wife was wondering what. Oh, okay. Yeah, the parking confused me. I mean, they got a one-way that goes around the center part of the city, and then there's like there's 2-hour parking and some spot. I was just trying to find a spot to park near the library. And apparently you could just park in that enclosed area right next to the library, but I mean usually those places are premium real estates, and you're not gonna usually get a good spot like that just whenever you want. So I am the defendant requesting dismissal based on the ticket, but I have asked ChatGPT to make a scenario to pretend to be the judge and ask ChatGPT what they have to say about that, and I find it very helpful, which I'll go into in a little bit. Here's other motions. Okay, so we got this and they don't call them motions, they call them letters correspondence. So I had wrote my messages, my motions, and they just kind of call them a letter correspondence. And I find that interesting because usually other courts will just call them a motion. But I've never had to write out my motions by hand before, so this is a new one. And I mean, maybe people get put off from writing their motions by hand, thinking, oh, it has to look typed out and professional. But I mean, this is how the courts have it set up. If they want it to look professional and have good formats, they would allow us to email our motions into the clerks, and not charge us $35 to be able to file motions. That's, I mean, $35 is part of the punishment right there. I'm not paying that, so I'll continue to write letters to the court, correspondence letters. What I wanted removed was this one that they kind of say, defendant requests to waive $35, request for free counsel, bill of particulars, dependent, and then they kind of copy what I said. Defendant is compelled to camp within the county, because this was a confusing one for them. But that's one that I wanted to pull because they didn't give me the proper paperwork for that until after I filed that. And I guess what I could have done for this one was ask to amend it instead of pull it. So I asked the wrong thing. I asked to have that pulled. They don't just pull, they'll amend maybe. And I haven't asked the court clerks about amending, but that's the better option. And then they don't have to put so many words in their notes for request for discovery. They know that one. They know motion to proceed pro se. They know bill of particulars. And then my second discovery request, it's very different. So yeah, that's several filings before my first court hearing, which there's no inputs for asking a date change. Oh wait, notice of hearing. Okay, there is inputs for date change too. Okay, so yeah, there's several, all from me pretty much, that I've filed. There's no response. The response is going to come in 2 days. And then I'm trying to get a better idea of what to expect. So I asked ChatGPT, let's see, defendants. Okay, I started asking somewhere, and I'm in the evidence-based. Okay, alright, I asked about, I uploaded a PDF and was asking questions about that. Okay. Oh yeah, then the essentials for camping. For camping, there's a minimum, and the cops go below the minimum for defining what camping is. Camping, from what? And I asked, what is essential? How else would you ask camping? Maybe I should ask, what's the bare minimum for camping? What do you consider the bare minimum? But the typical is having a tent, sleeping bag, cooking, food, water. But even if you have this stuff in your car, I mean, transporting it shouldn't be called camping. So if a person doesn't have all that stuff, it could be argued that you're engaging in camping. If you don't have camping tools, personal gear, lighting, camping furniture, food and water, camping equipment, sleeping bag or bedding, tent or shelter, if you don't have those things, then you're not quite camping, because there's certain things that make it so that you can effectively camp. So there's certain items that go into that activity. You don't just go out into the woods in a suit and tie and carrying a briefcase full of paperwork into the woods and call that camping. There's certain tools that you carry that anybody could carry, even if they're not camping. So it's interesting to me that that the cops are lowering the standard for camping so much. Having shoes outside the car. That's I mean, to have shoes by themselves, to have a car by itself, that's not camping. But it's when you place your shoes outside your car. It's like he's saying that I'm at my house and leaving my shoes outside my house. Yeah. All right. So that was the last question before I asked ChatGPT to role play as a judge for me. Yeah. There's a time, and there's a time, place, and manner. It's like I just watched The Armed Fisherman a little bit, and I saw the cops argue that even though the law states in Florida that you can carry a weapon while fishing, that the area that he was at was not appropriate to be carrying weapons. And it's interesting to me that you can be armed while fishing in Florida, and you can be armed anywhere. Yeah, no matter how dense the population along the water, and the cops are arguing that they don't think it's right that you could be in a highly populated tourist type of area carrying firearms, and I think that's interesting. That's why didn't the lawmakers make any decisions on that, deciding on any particular areas that might not be allowed. The cop said that carrying a firearm while fishing is a rural area thing. It's outside the city, not in the city. So it's interesting, and I probably, there's probably reasons why having a gun is helpful while fishing, and that has to do with the alligators. I'm thinking you might have to shoot some alligators that surprise you, and that's very Florida specific, because you don't, while you're out fishing anywhere else in the country, you don't have as much of a threat of alligators coming up on your boat, and having a firearm is pretty useful for that. But I mean, why, blame the lawmakers? It's the lawmakers' problem. It's the lawmakers' fault for saying that you can have a gun anywhere while fishing. But I mean, alligators wander into the city as well. So it probably was open-ended because they have reports. You see videos of alligators on golf courses. They're all over the place. So yeah, but yeah, back to the camping. Shoes outside the car. Let's see. Yeah, it depends on what you have outside the car. Shoes outside the car is camping, but what if I had a frisbee disc sitting outside the car? Then I'm not camping, right? Does it depend on what it is? Does it depend on the type of shoes? I don't have hiking shoes. I mean, wouldn't the type of shoe have something to do with camping in some way? Wouldn't it be more appropriate for camping to have a hiking shoe? I had tennis shoes, and I was wearing my shoes as he was telling me that I had shoes outside my car, because as soon as I get out, I can instantly put them on. I cut the backs of them. I cut the back of my shoes because it allows more breathing room, and they stay on pretty good while walking. I have a lot of good room. I didn't appreciate the tightness even for the eights. They're eights normal. Well, these are New Balance. They feel a little too narrow on the sides. So being able to slip out of my shoes is pretty useful. Slip in and out. And that's partly why I don't mind taking them off outside the car, because they slip on and off so easy. So I asked the ChatGPT to role play as a judge for me, and I thought it did a pretty good job. So it says, "Sure, I can role play as a judge for you." Please provide the scenario or case details you'd like to roleplay and let me know what role or position you will be taking. And let's see. I said it's my first hearing. I step in front of the judge after he calls my name. What is the first thing he says as I stand before him? And I asked the judge, what is the first thing the judge says as I stand before him? And then I describe the crime, Outagamie ordinance, camping restrictions, definitions. The following words, terms, and phrases when used in this section shall have the meaning ascribed to them in this subsection, except where the context clearly indicates a different meaning. Camping means any singular or group activity in any county park that would cause a reasonable person to construe such activity. I don't know why it says construed. To have construed as being conducted to establish temporary quarters or lodging and portable shelters, including, and that's what gets me, is it says including automobile. It doesn't say such as automobiles. They're saying including automobiles. So, but I mean, it's about the same kind of meaning. Including automobiles, sleeping bags, trailers, or tents in any county park. So first they say temporary quarters, and then they say it includes automobiles. So they're saying temporary automobiles are they say conducted to establish temporary quarters, all right, or lodging and portable shelters. And an automobile is considered a temporary quarter or portable shelter. So if you, I mean, a lot of people can get vulnerable. We're all vulnerable to we're vulnerable to seasonal disasters, environmental disasters, and to have an automobile ready to go as a portable shelter in case you have to flee your house, if you have a fire in the area or a flooding. There was a flooding in the north part of Appleton last week. I mean, you have to leave your house. There's houses underwater. And to have a car that's ready to go as a temporary quarter is kind of necessary. You just get out of the area and you could survive. And what this law is doing is discouraging people from having their cars prepared even a little bit for a disaster, to escape a disaster. And I think people should be able to keep things in their cars that serve as a that makes it a bit of a temporary quarter for disasters. So that's a concern, how they can take away that right and fine a right for that. It doesn't discriminate against homeless people. It discriminates against everybody. Anybody who's vulnerable to a disaster of some kind, and they're setting you up for legal prosecution by being prepared. And I'm surprised more people aren't upset about this. It's like the people up north. I mean, I thought they would be a little bit more self-sufficient. They're more self-sufficient in Idaho for sure. Maybe that's the problem with Wisconsin. There's just not enough mountains. Okay, flatland people tend to go along more with what law enforcement tells them to do. maybe that's the problem. If there were more mountains around, people might take on a different attitude. Try living in the mountains of Idaho. There's a more of a spirit of freedom in the mountains, I think. So let's see, camping. Okay, and I described camping allowed only in certain areas. Apparently, I chose the wrong area to park. All right, so ChatGPT will roleplay as a judge from my first hearing. I'm the defendant in this case involving a violation of Outagamie ordinance regarding camping. Here we go. Judge, good morning. We are here today for the initial hearing in the case of the state of Wisconsin versus Travis. You, Mr. Hines, you are charged with the violation of Outagamie ordinance, which pertains to camping restrictions in county parks. How do you plead to this charge? And so I, have the choices to say guilty, not guilty, or no contest. But I say I cannot decide on a plea without seeing the evidence first. Can I look at discovery evidence before making a decision? And then Judge ChatGPT says, you, Mr. Hines, Mr. Hines, it is within your rights to review the evidence against you before deciding on a plea. You can request discovery from the prosecution, which will provide you with the relevant evidence in your case. If you need more time to review the evidence, we can schedule a pretrial conference. At this time, would you like to enter a plea of not guilty to allow you time to review the discovery, or do you have another request? So I don't say not guilty. I just go into more talk about my discovery. I made the request for discovery over a week ago and have not received any response from prosecution. What is taking so long for prosecution to give me discovery? And then I asked ChatGPT that, and then it says, Mr. Hines, I understand your concern regarding the delay in receiving discovery. The prosecution is required to provide you with the evidence in a timely manner. Prosecutor, can you explain the delay in providing the discovery materials to Mr. Hines? And then I only asked ChatGPT to pretend to be the judge, but not the prosecutor. So I don't know, whatever. It don't really matter what the prosecutor says so much. So I think it's funny that to just say prosecutor responds. It's just blah blah blah. Especially when it comes to discovery evidence. It's like no excuse matters. Just hand it over, okay? We don't need to hear excuses. Mr. Hines, I'll ensure that you receive the necessary discovery materials promptly. And this is what a judge is supposed to do, okay? This is Judge ChatGPT. This is what I expect Brian Figge to do. If he goes off course from this, then that's his own personality being brought into play here. All right. So they say the judge says to the prosecutor, I expect the discovery materials to be provided to the defendant within the next 7 days. Yeah, if the prosecutor has nothing in this hearing in 2 days, then it's going to be the focus is going to be all on discovery. Even ChatGPT recognizes that the focus on my first hearing is going to be just on looking at this evidence. In the meantime, we'll schedule a new date. Oh, great. For this hearing to allow you, and it'll be a month later. That's pretty typical. So after July 17th, I'll probably be looking at August 17th. I'll be a resident in Appleton for a long time. It's typical of in every city that arrests me. It's how it happens. And then what'll happen with West Milwaukee? That'll be another delay. But they insist on doing it all through the the Zoom. All right. I say, I also submitted a motion which says, and then this is the exact wording that I actually copied and from ChatGPT. According to the ordinance, a citation must include several pieces of information, including factual allegations describing the alleged violation. The use of the word shall in the ordinance indicates that these requirements are mandatory. Let's see. However, the ticket I received does not contain any such factual allegation. This omission means the ticket does not comply with the ordinance. The factual allegations are crucial as they inform the alleged violator of what exactly they are being accused of, allowing them to prepare a proper defense. Without this information, the ticket is not only deficient but also violates my right to due process. In light of this non-compliance with the ordinance, I respectfully request that the court dismiss the ticket. So that was my question to Judge ChatGPT, to the judge. And the judge responds, I have reviewed your motion regarding the compliance of your citation with Outagamie ordinance. You argue that the citation you received does not contain the required factual allegations describing the alleged violation, which you believe renders the citation deficient and in violation of your right to due process. Prosecutor, could you please respond to the defendant's motion regarding the sufficiency of the citation? Prosecutor responds, Thank you, prosecutor. Mr. Hines, I will consider both your motion and the prosecutor's response. If the citation is found to be deficient, the court may indeed dismiss the ticket. However, if it is determined that the citation meets the required standards or can be amended to include the necessary factual allegations, the case may proceed. I will review the relevant ordinance and the details of the citation before making a final ruling. You will be notified of the court's decision shortly. In the meantime, I will ensure you receive the discovery materials you requested, and we will schedule a new date for a hearing if necessary. Is there anything else? Okay. And then I find that interesting. The judge says that it can be amended. I did not think about amended. I was like, yes, I'm okay if they correct, that they give me a new ticket, correct it, but I never thought amended to the ticket, an amendment to the ticket, and that's just a different way of putting it. Something I didn't really think about. All right, let's see, judge, and then I ask him what his decision is. Yeah, pretty much, what is your decision, Judge? Just, he said he'll make a decision, so then I have to ask him for his decision. So the judge says, I understand your concerns about due process and the delay in receiving the necessary information. After considering your motion and the prosecutor's response, I have decided the following. Given that the citation does not comply with Outagamie ordinance's sections, by failing to include factual allegations describing the alleged violation, I find that the citation is indeed deficient. Your right to due process requires that you are fully informed of the specific allegations against you to prepare an adequate defense. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I acknowledge your statement that the deficient citation has prejudiced your due process rights. The lack of factual details has caused unnecessary delays and uncertainty, which are not in line with the principles of fair legal proceedings. However, I am also considering the prosecution's right to correct procedural errors. Therefore, I will allow the prosecution to issue an amended citation that includes the necessary factual allegations. The amended citation must be provided to you within the next 7 days. So the judge, Judge ChatGPT, says pretty much the prosecutor has a right to correct procedural errors, and so that's what he's kind of favoring, and that's what I expect this judge to do as well. I can ask for a dismissal, but the chances of that are slim. For him to dismiss a ticket because there was no factual information put in the ticket when it's required, it can be amended later. But it's just so frustrating to deal with, as somebody who doesn't have the facts of what their charge is exactly. In light of this decision, the current citation is dismissed, and the prosecution is directed to issue an amended citation. Once you receive, so there's kind of a the judge taking the middle ground, typical, dismissing the old tickets, and then issuing the amended citation. That's just great. That's what a judge does. He takes the middle ground, because I'm sure I'm going to hear that prosecutor say, "We're not letting this go." I'm expecting to hear that. And I'll take this to the Supreme Court. Once you receive the amended citation, we will schedule a new date for your hearing. A month, typically it's a month later. Thank you for your patience. So I don't know, I wanted to go on here and just mention this, because I found it so interesting that ChatGPT judge pretty much is making decisions that sound very much like what a typical judge is trained to decide. All right, it sounds very much in line, and I didn't quite expect this decision, or at least this type of wording. I was willing to accept that the ticket would be rewritten. I just wasn't thinking about amending. I wasn't thinking about dismissing the old ticket and directing the new citation. So it's just, the wording is not going to come at me as a surprise so much. And so I'm preparing, and I'm trying to continue just to be prepared. But this is only the first hearing. What else can I prepare for? After the first hearing, once I get more information about these guys, then I'll have more questions to ask as a part of this process. But I've been spending days and days just preparing for the first hearing. A lot of time for me has gone into just preparing for this first hearing. I am not prepared to write a motion to dismiss, a motion to suppress evidence, and then prepare for a trial. I'm not prepared for that, and so that's going to be even more learning in the future. Right now, I'm just focused on getting that evidence. The sheriff's office has stalled over 10 days on my public records request. The prosecutor's not talking to me. I'm able to submit my motions at least, but I had to do it on paper, with paper and pen. There's a lot of hurdles. There's a lot of delay tactics that they're using. Just making me only talk to the secretary at the prosecutor's office. That's a delay tactic. That's a obstruction tactic that they want to blame me for doing. I'm the obstructor while they obstruct. It's just amazing. Could I make up reasons against amending the ticket? I didn't make up a whole lot of reasons. Like, what would I do? What would I say against just the amendment? I mentioned the thing is, the judge said that, and this is what I expect Judge Figge to do. All he says is, "I understand your concerns about due process and the delay." That's it. He just understands it. There's no remedy for me that works in better in my favor. It's just he understands. And if you look at the canons for the judge, they even talk about how facial expressions have an impact on how the trial progresses. So he smiles or he frowns at certain times. that's a part of the whole communication from the judge. So you want to pay attention to that. And so a lot of them want to choose a poker face so they don't communicate more, because there's more to just words in communication. But I mean, for making appeals, they don't want that facial expression to be communicated. They only want words. Yeah, I don't know what that. Yeah, there's you understand exposure. I guess I guess I could think of some questions later about how because maybe I didn't make a strong enough argument. The judge is only saying, I understand your concerns about due process, but I don't know how further to push that. I can mention the time. It's been weeks where now with that, where I have just a ticket with my name and a citation, but no factual details. No response. It's been over 10 days. No response from the sheriffs. The prosecutor won't talk to me. I have no facts. I have no evidence, and no and they're capable, all right, of talking to me. They just use their secretaries, and they put their secretaries in between me and them, and let their secretaries handle all the questions. And what are the secretaries' answers? They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. It just comes down. Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, Dan, I can't make that argument until I get the facts, and then that would be something that I would start with my motion to suppress evidence. I don't have any court cases. I'm just at the first hearing. I'm just taking this step just to prepare for the first hearing. I want to write notes, and then after, when I get all the evidence, then I start making my arguments. So that's all. That's all I have to say here. Actually, I think I'm done. I'm gonna do more research. So all right, thanks for stopping.